back, we managed to combine our brain strength, combine all of our brain power, and get about the equivalent of a pigeon. So we managed to find my way home, but that's about it. But yeah, so Stefan's here now.
My
and
internet's
I'm
in
here.
it, so this could be interesting.
Yeah, Stefan's internet, I can see on the monitoring
Yes,
thing,
hello.
your internet's went to yellow bars and it keeps on dropping to red, so we'll see how the connection goes.
Well, the connection was terrible, and we fixed it, and it was fine until we hit record, and then we'll
Now it's fine.
just ignore it. It'll be fine. It'll behave if we pretend it's not there.
It's like a bad child. If you ignore it, it just settles itself down. That's how it works, isn't it?
Don't give it the green, so I can't say it.
Well, here's something that requires attention, right? And I'm just coming out the gate straight away with just a random stupid thing. There is
Yes.
still a blockbuster around. Like, and the last blockbuster, it
There
is
is?
still a blockbuster. Yeah. It is. I'm not too sure where it is, but it's the very last blockbuster, and it has like big title thing. It's very last one and everything, and it actually has 16 copies of Morbius in it to rent. So it's legitimately it's still open because it's got Morbius in.
Where? Where? Just where? You can Google the location of the last blockbuster.
It's in. It is in Bend in Oregon.
So it's in the US.
It's in the US. It opened in 1992 as Pacific Video, and then in 2000 was converted into a
Dude.
blockbuster franchise, and it's the last remaining one. In 2019,
We are
it
older.
became the last remaining store of it. We are older than this. But yeah, so
We are older.
amazingly, there is something still there, still alive. I don't know how. I don't know how Blockbuster is still live there, but it's hanging in there, dude.
Yeah, but
Hey, but no, I just
well,
thought that was
so are
fun.
we, I suppose. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
I'm going
found some
to.
fun things as well.
Okay, I am going to jump straight into one of the topics that we would have had 2 weeks ago had I not been going on holiday and other things intervening. And
Yes.
we decided we were going to do like a few war things and bits and pieces and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 1714, there was a Norwegian captain and an English captain that had a 14-hour-long ship fight. So basically, an entire day fighting each other on ships.
Yeah.
And this is the good old-fashioned wood broadside fire cannons. Afterwards, both ships were badly damaged, and the Norwegian captain was running out of ammo. So he sent an envoy to the English ship asking if he could borrow some of their ammo. We, of course, said no.
Oh,
And
dude, that's not sport.
swiftly captured him. He he was court-martialed after the indecisive sea battle. What was it? Hold on. Un momento.
Imagine how fantastic the British that would have been if he was like, dude, I've run out of ammo, and we were like, you know what, it's been a good fight. Yeah, you can have a couple of cannonballs.
Yeah, no, mate. He encountered a frigate under the British flag near Lindesnes, while flying a Dutch flag on the Lovendals Galley himself. The other frigate was a galley carrying 28 guns, which had been equipped in Great Britain for the Swedes, and it was on its way to Gothenburg under the command of a British captain named Bachman. The signals for this Norwegian guy's ship to come closer, and as he raised the Danish flag, they immediately fired a broadside on him. In the British captain, where Wessel met a tough match. The combat lasted all day, and when it tried to escape in the evening, they set more sails and continued the duel. The fight was interrupted by nightfall and renewed again indecisively the following morning. So they stopped when night fell and then continued on in the morning
Yeah,
after everybody had had some sleep.
you can't say when it's dark, man. There's no lights in the sea.
Exactly. Both ships were badly damaged after around 14 hours of fighting when Wessel was running out of ammunition. He sent an envoy to the British ship, cordially thanking the British for a good duel, and asked if he could borrow some of their ammunition in order to continue the fight. His request was denied, and the captains drank to each other's health before the ships dispersed.
To be fair, he would have legitimately just been borrowing it because he would have immediately fired it back.
Exactly. That's the thing. He would have
It's the most legitimate promise of a borrow in history. I'll borrow it. I'm going to give you back in about 30 seconds through the side of your ship, but can I borrow it?
But this is how cordial war was back then. His request was denied. The captains drank to each other's health before the ships dispersed. When he heard about the incident, King Frederick IV of Denmark asked for the Admiralty to court-martial the captain vessel. He stood trial in November 1714, accused of disclosing vital military information about his lack of ammunition to the enemy, as well as endangering the ship of King Frederick IV by fighting a superior enemy force, known as the British Navy.
So basically, he got wrong. They went, no, why? Look, you could have picked on anybody. Why did you go after the British Navy, right? And then
why did you go after the British Navy and then give up the information that you had ran out of ammunition?
Yeah, like as if he was meant to just start firing like Pirates of the Caribbean and load the cannons up with forks.
I think it was like he was meant to run away, but the problem is like the English ship had a bit of a fight, decided, you know what, this fight isn't going anywhere. We're just going to sail away, and this guy gave chase, opened his sails, and decided to chase afterwards. So we just turned around and went, okay, fuck you then. We're just going to destroy you.
That is my level of ambition and stupidity and unpreparedness all in one.
It is. The spirit with which he defended himself and the contempt he poured on his less courageous comrades took the fancy of Frederick IV. He successfully argued a section of the Danish Naval Code which mandated attacking fleeing enemy ships no matter the size, and was acquitted on 15th of December 1715. He then went to the king asking for a promotion and was raised to the rank of captain on the 28th of December the same year. So he just managed to avoid getting a court-martial, and then not even 20 days later, not even a month later, went to the king and said, you know what, can I have a promotion?
But do you know what as well? I feel sorry for the other people that were serving in the Danish Navy at that point. Because he'd successfully argued that the Naval Code does say that no matter what the size of the ship is, you have to chase it if it's run away. And at some point, imagine being the guy out there on a frigate when like a man of war sails past and just fucks off and you go, oh god, I'm going to have to chase it now or I'm going to be bollocked.
Yeah. just captain's like, you know what, that page gets torn out. We didn't see a man of war, nothing happened. Well, everybody on the crew says so.
They argued that he endangered a ship by attacking the Navy. He argued that he gave chase as is in the Naval Code. So I'm assuming the Naval Code says that you both have to give chase to any ship, no matter what size. But also, if you unnecessarily endanger a ship, which you would by chasing a ship superior to you, then you'd be court-martialed either way.
Yeah, it's... I don't know if it was the Naval Code that said that he had endangered the ship. I think it's
or if it's just because he attacked a British ship.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that it was a ship that had it was under the King's Navy, so it's like you're endangering a ship in the King's Navy, therefore you're endangering the King. So no.
To be fair as well, 1700s, and he attacked the British Navy. He's pretty much endangered Norway there, because if we're getting pissed off, we didn't have the best record for forgiving and forgetting.
Are you ready for the best part? He was only promoted to that frigate 2 years earlier, and our frigate had 28 guns. Theirs only had 18, so it was legitimately an under-equipped ship. 10 more can make all the difference. He was promoted against the advice of the Danish Admiralty, who considered him unreliable. After officially complaining about his dreary commanding officer in Norway, Vessel was transferred to the Baltic Sea command of Ulrik Christian Gildenlove, who appreciated and utilized Vessel's courage. Wessel was already renowned for two things: the audacity with which he attacked any Swedish vessels he came across, regardless of the odds. So legitimately what got him court-martialed. And his unique seamanship, which always enabled him to evade capture. In other words, he was good at running away and pissing people off.
And he'd attack anything that had a yellow and blue flag on it.
Yeah.
Can I just say, because I'm fully on his side now, even though, it was the British Navy that he pissed off initially.
There's the
Um,
thing. It was a
can I?
Swedish ship under the British Navy. It was like a British Navy
Ah,
ship that was being gifted to the Swedish, and it was being transported under the captainship of a British captain, while it's still being a Swedish ship because it had a Swedish name. It had an English captain and was part of the British Navy, gifted over to the Swedish.
so do you think he saw that it was Swedish, right? He started attacking it, and then he seen the British Navy officers on board and just thought, oh, shit.
He saw the redcoats and just sat there going, "Fuck."
I've messed up here, lads. But we're gonna do it anyway. Also, I'm fully invested in being on his side now, even though he did attack the British. But um, you said he had 10. He had how many? 17 cannons, and they had 27 or something,
He had 18 and they had 28, so he
right?
had 10 less.
And he ran out of ammo first. He was saving ammo. That was the smart thing to do. He took less guns because he would have run out of ammo quicker.
Yeah,
I'm on
which
his side now.
no, hold up. That confused me even more because he ran out of ammo with less guns and conserving ammo compared to the 28 gun ship.
Yeah, but Kyle, if you are the British Navy, generally you're very well prepared anyway, because they were easily the best navy in the world at the time.
There
Yeah,
were, but at the same time,
and
if you're a 28 gun ship, surely you're going to run out of ammo quicker than an 18 gun ship. Like if an 18 gun
only
ship
if you take
conserves
the
ammo.
same amount of ammo. That's what I'm saying. We would have took a lot more. But can I just point
Yeah.
out the interesting thing there? All the
However,
British Navy were doing was delivering a ship to Sweden. They weren't going out for war. They weren't actively looking for war. They weren't looking to engage anybody. They literally, all they had to do was sail, and it's quite a short journey, really, from England to Sweden, yes? And they took
yeah.
enough ammo with them to outlast a Danish fucking warship that was looking for war.
Well, yes. If we are going to transport a ship to one of our allies, we are going to make sure said ship fucking makes it.
Yeah,
If it encounters pirates or anything else, they're going to know about it.
usually when people are doing that, they'll take the ship that's a gift that will be protected by a small fleet that has lots of ammo. They won't just load up that one and go, you know what it is, go for it, it'll survive. Also, it's kind of sad now that he heavily damaged it. Because when we sailed into the shore, like, it was nearly sank, and they were like, well, this was a gift, but a Danish guy fucking attacked with. But it's fine, he ran out of ammo, here he is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Uh,
Did I tell you, did we talk about on here the only successful, what is it? Wait there. We may have talked about it before on here. Against. Here we go. The capture of the Dutch fleet at Den Helder.
I do apologize. Before you do that, I've just read further, right? You're going to like him even more because this is your idea of a retirement. Tordenskjold compelled him to raise the siege and retire to Sweden. He did so by pouncing upon the Swedish transport
Sweden
fleet.
was how he attacked all the time.
Yeah,
He's like, you know what? I've spent 30 years attacking these. Let's go live there and see what it's like.
apparently the Dutch were just constantly at war with Sweden. When in the course of 1716, Charles the 12th invaded Norway and laid siege to the fortress of Frederiksskald, he compelled them to raise the siege and retire to Sweden.
Oh,
He
no.
did so by pouncing upon the Swedish transport suite, laden with ammunition and other military stores, which rode at anchor in a now dangerous ford. With 2 frigates and 5 smaller ships, he conquered or destroyed around 30 Swedish ships with little damage to himself during the battle. So he got told to retire, and he went, "No, fuck that! I'm just going to cut off all the transport."
That is retire. He's making sure everyone else retires as well.
Yeah,
If I'm going to retire, so is everybody I've been fighting with for the past 20 years.
exactly. I'm forwarding him because I think you're going to love him.
Yeah, I'm going to read into that. What about the capture of the Dutch fleet?
Oh, you're frozen.
Hello?
Hello, you're back. Hello.
Have we talked about the capture of the Dutch fleet at Den Helder?
I don't think we have.
Right,
But
it
the
was
Dutch
on
fleet,
the night.
considering that is about the Dutch fleet, the Dutch fleet apparently have some fucking mad war stories.
Well, this is the capture of the Dutch fleet, so this is one that didn't go in their favour. Although the one before didn't really go in his favour. So
Yeah.
the Dutch, when they go Navian,
Oh.
interesting. What's it not downfalls on the
Interesting
night of the
exploits
23rd of
ensue.
January 1795. Yes,
Yes.
a French revolutionary hut came close to a Dutch fleet, and I'm going to butcher words here. The Dutch
Oh,
at anchor in the Nieuw Deep.
they've come up against
Just east
hussars.
of the town of Den Helder. Yes, it is the only successful capture of a naval fleet by cavalry.
I feel like we might have touched on this, but we didn't get into the full thing previously. But yes, go for it.
You were about ahead of me. The lag.
I know the lag's a bit
Do you
nuts.
know what? Sorry. Da-da-da-da.
Okay, so he's left to try and rejoin and hopefully fix his connection. Hopefully this syncs his audio for everybody doing the podcast and stuff. He's back now. We'll see. Is it any better?
You got away with that one.
I mean, your green screen isn't active, so
There we go.
there we go.
One more thing. Yes, it's the only successful cavalry charge against a naval fleet in history. So they were frozen in anchor just east of the town of Den Helder after some hussars had approached across the frozen Nieuw Deep. The French cavalry negotiated that all 14 Dutch warships would remain at anchor. The capture of ships by horsemen is an extremely rare feat in military history. No shit.
Yeah, no shit. We've managed to capture a fleet with horses.
No, dude, it gets even better.
Please tell me one that like.
No.
Please
Right,
tell
are
me
you
like
ready?
one of the ships was actually at sea, but they still somehow managed to capture that one as well from the land.
So I'm just going to read you the headline stats of what it is. So the date, 23rd of January 1795, location between Texel and Den Helder, Dutch Republic, result French victory, right? Belligerents, Dutch Republic versus French Republic. I'm going to skip over the
Yes.
commanders and come back. Strength, Dutch, 14 warships.
Yes.
Strength, French, 1 Hussar regiment and 1 infantry battalion.
Of
Casualties and
course.
losses. Casualties and losses. The Dutch, 14 warships captured. The French, none. The best thing about it is the Dutch, they just wandered upon these Dutch ships frozen,
Yeah.
right? The commander for the Dutch fleet was Hermanus Rienches, right?
All right.
The commanders for the French army were Louis Lahire and Jan Wilhelm de Winter.
De Winter managed to capture a fleet in ice in winter. I like it.
Yeah, the French units were the 8th Hussar Regiment and the Voltigeur Company of the 15th Line Infantry Regiment of the French Revolutionary Army. Jean-Charles Pichegru was the leader of the French army that invaded the Dutch Republic. The Dutch fleet was commanded by Captain Hermanus Rienches, and the action happened during the War of the First Coalition, which was part of the French Revolutionary Wars. So basically, as I skipped through it, it was in the middle of the winter of 1794 and 95 was exceptionally cold, causing the Zuiderzee to freeze. Pichegru offered the General Brigade of Jean Wilhelm de Winter to lead a squadron of the 8th Hussar Regiment to Den Helder. De Winter had been serving with France since 1787 and would later command the Dutch fleet in the disastrous Battle of Camperdown. So he captured these for the French and then went on to lead the Dutch fleet later on.
Please tell me it's the same fleet. He ended up capturing them, and then he ended up just leading these exact same ships. Like the same ships got like ransomed back or something. Then he ended up in charge of the exact same ones because that would just be beautiful poetry.
Dude, it gets even better, when you read about it, right? General de Winter arrived at Den Helder with his troops during the night of the of January 1795. The Dutch as expected, but they were trapped by ice. Each hussar carried an infantry the fifth line, so literally cavalry. After a careful approach, the hussars covered the horses' hooves with fabric to prevent noise and slippage. The Lieutenant Colonel Louis Joseph Laher went across the ice with a few of his men. The French were allowed to board the Dutch ships for negotiations. The French received the assurance from the Dutch captain that the vessels and their crews would remain at anchor until the political situation would have, in the Dutch Republic would have become clear. Neither side. With the 14 warships, 850 guns, and several merchant ships now still in Batavian possession, the French submission of the Netherlands was brought. This is one of the only instances in recorded military history wherein a cavalry came close to a fleet. Yeah.
That's
So
like
a lot of them.
friggin'
This is
cavalry charges against tanks and stuff that you hear about. But it's against a fucking ship. I love it.
so do you want to no, do you want to know what?
I want to know how De Winter ended up changing sides and working for the Dutch. He was a French soldier from like the 80s. How did he end up working for the Dutch afterwards?
I'm not sure, but all nearly right, then given back to the Dutch
Right.
by the French. Right. The Arrow did 76, and it was captured by the British in 1799. Gelderland was captured by the British in 1799. Wilhelm was captured by the British in 1797. Princess Louisa was captured by the British in 1799. Admiral Clayton was sold to be broken up in 1799. The frigates, the Mokaina Dam, was captured by the British in 1797. Argo was captured by the British in 1796. Aliante was captured by the British in 75. Then there were the hulks.
At
The
least we changed
Admiral
it a bit.
General, was sold in 1795, and Amsterdam was sold in 1795, and then the corvettes, Enkhuizen, broken up in 1800, Venus, captured by the British 1796, Echo, wrecked and wreck sold in 1796, Dolphin, burnt or captured, in brackets unsure, by the British 1799. So basically we set fire to it. We're not sure if we actually nicked it after that or if we just sunk it. Pallas, captured by the British 1797, and Zeepard, wrecked or broken up in 1805. Then there was cutters. There was Lynx, which was a prize to HMS Cirque in October 1799. Snellherd, captured by the British 1795, and Volk, captured in 1799. So basically, after the French either took or give back the ships, we just went and captured them all and sunk a couple.
So we did what the British did best, and we just decided all these ships are ours. We're going to capture or sink them. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. So basically, in February 1795, a massive mutiny broke out amongst the Dutch sailors who hadn't been paid for nearly a year, and who thought that now the old republic had ceased to exist, they were no longer required to adhere to naval discipline. This led to a mass of Dutch sailors leaving the ships with only skeleton crews remaining in place. So this was later on. So that's why we captured a hell of a lot of them in 1799, because they all basically pissed off.
They just ran.
Yeah,
They just went, nope,
the Dutch were like, you know what it is? You're not paying us. Fuck this.
I mean, that's all makes sense. You're not paying with, fuck it, they can have the ships. Bye.
It does, to be fair.
I don't blame them.
I do have another war guy. I do have to find him.
Well, I believe I have another war guy. Somewhere.
Yeah, so let's see who finds it first.
Aha!
I've got
Auschwitz.
Him. Auschwitz? That's not a
I
war
win
guy.
with Auschwitz.
This isn't Top Trumps.
Well, sort of. There is a guy called Rudolf Vrber and another man. And would you like to know how they
Hold on. Can you say the other man's name, or is it just an unknown other man?
It's an unknown other man. It's just another man.
Okay, I wasn't sure if the name was very German and you just didn't want to try it.
No, he just escaped with another man.
Okay, go on then.
Oh, hold on. Alfred Wetzler, or Wetzler, sorry.
Okay.
They managed to escape Auschwitz because they noticed while in Auschwitz that after prisoners went missing, the guards only searched for 3 days. So they simply hid in a hole for 3 days outside the inner perimeter fence, and on the fourth day, fucked off.
Okay.
So they noticed that they couldn't constantly be searching for people. They needed the prison guards in the prison, so they only searched for escapees for 3 days. So they just
They waited for that's quite smart actually, because you've left, so you're not in the thing. They'll look for you, but you're still in enough that they're not going to be looking at the inside fence. That's
yeah,
quite smart. And then by the time you do leave, they don't know you've not left until then, so they've already looked for 3. Yeah, street smart.
exactly.
I like
Uh,
that.
da, 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 da. I'm trying to find out where it says when he actually escaped. No, fuck knows. Oh, there we
Okay.
go. He encountered an acquaintance from Trnava, Alfred Veltzer, who had arrived in 1942 and was working in the mortuary. The camp underground had organized the escape, supplying information for Verber and Wetzler to carry, or like other people.
Villa and
A,
Vets, that
locks-
sounds like a comedy skit.
a locksmith had created a key for a small shed in which Verber and the others had drawn a site plan and dyed clothes. From the Central Registry supplied data from the registry. Philippek, which was Philip Muller in Hut 13, added the names of the SS officers working around crematoria, a plan of the gas chambers and crematoria, his records, and the smuggled clothes out for the escapees to wear, including suits from Amsterdam. And they had supplied socks, underpants, shirts, a razor, a torch, as well as glucose, vitamins, margarine, cigarettes, and a cigarette lighter that said "Made in Auschwitz." So they've literally got like loads of shit. But yeah, he had managed to escape by hiding for 3 days when he noticed they don't give a fuck after 3 days. Let's just hide and then the search will be called off.
Oh, that's quite smart. I like that.
Yeah,
So it's like
I think.
escaping but not escape.
Yeah, it's half escaping,
So
waiting for
yeah,
the guards to.
you
It's
have
like
to be
GTA.
within
It's
the
like video
inside
game
fence.
escaping.
Yeah, you have to be within the inside fence. If you leave the perimeter of the inside fence, they assume you've escaped and search outside. So if you leave the inside fence but stay in the outside fence, then they look for you outside for their 3 days. They don't see you. Then when they come back into the inside fence, you then go outside the outside fence, and they're not looking for you anymore.
Yeah,
That's really
exactly.
smart.
Honestly, when you first read it, it sounds like video game logic where you just hide for a little bit and the enemy forgets that they're meant to be looking for you and just wanders off and goes and does the one thing. It's just that it takes 3 days instead of 3 minutes.
Yeah. And I bet they weren't walking past, like, stepping over the hole that they were in, and they're just sitting there like that.
I would bet money that they did.
So, I found my guy.
Mm-hmm.
I told you about Todger Jones.
Who?
This is another guy you can add to your list of excellent people. Todger Jones.
Todger Jones.
He was called Jones, but his name was Todger Jones. He was born 25th of December 1880 and died on the 30th of January 1956, age 75. There is a statue of Jones at the Runcorn War Memorial in Runcorn in Cheshire, where he was born and where he died. And he was the recipient of a Victoria Cross, the highest award for gallantry in the face of the enemy, awarded to the Commonwealth forces. So, yeah, so he was born on Christmas Day as well.
That's one hell of
Um,
a good. I mean, I suppose a lot of people are born on Christmas Day, so it's not that
yeah,
bad. But okay.
uh, he was uh, he was a private in the 1st Battalion, the Cheshire Regiment in the British Army during the First World War, where he was known as iconically as Todger Jones. He was 35 years old when, on the 25th of September 1916, during the Battle of Morval, Jones performed an act of bravery for which he was awarded the Victoria Cross. He was with his company covering the advance in front of a village when he noticed an enemy sniper 200 yards away. Uh, for Americans, that's 183 meters. This is going to be in yards, so this may be confusing. He left his trench on his own, crossed into no man's land without any cover and fire, and although one bullet went through his helmet and another went through his coat, he returned the sniper's fire and killed him. Um,
So the sniper saw him coming, managed to pop off 2 shots and miss him, just, and then he just returned fire and killed him.
yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm sorting random things. So yeah, he ran across no man's land with no cover and fire straight towards a sniper that was 200 yards away. It took 2 shots that didn't hit him. Near the enemy trench, he saw 2 more Germans firing on him while simultaneously displaying a white flag. Jones shot them. Upon reaching the enemy trench, he found several occupied dugouts and single-handedly disarmed 102 Germans.
Single-handedly disarmed 102. Didn't kill, disarmed.
Yeah, disarmed. 3 or 4 were officers, and the entire trench was taken by Jones and his comrades. He's buried in the Runcorn Cemetery, and his Victoria Cross Medal group is displayed at the Cheshire Military Museum in Chester. So, basically, what the story behind it is, they saw the sniper. They were told not to advance. Well,
Yeah, they were told, hold your ground.
they were supposed to advance. They were trying to work something out. At which point he went, "Fuck it, you know what? I'll go for it. Cover us," and then just ran. And everyone was like, "What?" So he ran killed the sniper. Then they realised what he was doing. They started following him. When he got close, there was 2 Germans waving a white flag, which when he got a bit closer, then started shooting at him. So he killed both them and dropped into the trench and started disarming and taking prisoners, at which case the rest of his company went and helped him. But he got credited with it because it was basically his fault that they could not do it. But his honours, man.
I love the fact that he went into a trench alone and started disarming and taking prisoners. He didn't just go into a trench and start shooting people. He went into a trench and thought, you know what, I can take prisoners here. There's 20 of them and one of me, but I can take prisoners. It's the most British
Yeah,
attitude in the world.
yeah. So his honours as well, because his full medal entitlement was as follows. So he was awarded the Victoria Cross on the 26th of October 1916. He was ordered the Distinguished Conduct Medal after that, doesn't say when. He was ordered the 1914 to 15 Star. He was ordered a British War Medal. He was ordered a different 1914 to 15 Star. He was ordered a Defence Medal. Because he had a Victoria Cross, on the 12th of May 1937, he was given a King George the Sixth Coronation Medal. Right, because he had a Victoria Cross on the 2nd of June 1953, he was given the Queen Elizabeth II Coronation Medal. And then my favourite one, in 1912, right, no idea why he got it, but he was given the Territorial Force Efficiency Medal.
The efficiency medal.
The Territorial Force Efficiency Medal.
He wasn't part of the territorial force, though.
Well, he must have been. It's an award for the long service in the territorial force between 1908 and 1921. So he must. It's like you have to have a minimum of 12 years service, and war service counts as double, so minimum 6.
Okay.
In actually at war. But yeah, so he's got a hell of a lot of medals. So Todger Jones for running head on
I
on a
am.
sniper and capturing 102 Germans.
Yes, well done to Todger Jones. Also, I love the fact that his nickname was Todger Jones.
Yeah. His service number was 11000.
That is the best service number in the world. How?
His service number is just 11,000 and his nickname's Todger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well done, Todger Jones. I do have other people of note that you can add to your thing, but I don't have to go through them all today.
That is perfectly fine. Everyone, if people haven't gathered listening or watching, we are just going to drop people of note. That's the new thing that we tried to start doing last time, and then we had a few weeks off. But just people of note that did mad things that deserve mad respect. Chances are most of them will be British, but I feel like that Dutch captain kind of deserved some respect there for managing to ask to borrow some ammunition after a 14-hour fight.
There are some good ones, man.
Yeah.
I'm just looking here. There's a guy here I wanted to.
I have found you in a catastrophe, or Jay, or John, any one of you.
Okay.
Apparently, there was a chief baker on board the Titanic. That's
Yeah.
how big the ship was. And while the ship sank, he drank an entire bottle of whiskey and spent 3 hours in the -2 degrees water before he was rescued alive because the whiskey just kept his body temperature up. So
That's more like it.
he downed an entire bottle of whiskey and managed to survive in the freezing cold temperatures because he just had so much in his blood. He was just hot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
I do. These are all just little mini tad bits. I don't have much else to go on them. It's just little tad bits. One of the unifiers of Japan, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, once built an entire castle in secret near a castle he had put under siege. Let that sink in. He built a castle in secret next to a castle he was sieging. After 80 days,
How did he hide it?
After 80 days, he had the trees covering it cut down. So he built an entire castle in a forest and then got all the trees cut down around it afterwards, making it seem like a castle had sprung up overnight. His enemies surrendered shortly after. He managed to convince his enemies that he had magically made a fucking castle appear overnight because he cut down a forest to reveal a castle that had been built.
That is, yeah, that's quite impressive. That. So, what? How did they hide it?
They hid it in forest. They just hid it behind loads of trees, and I'm guessing after 80 days, like to reveal it, they just chopped down the entire forest around it.
Okay.
Which sounds absolutely mad when you say it out loud, but yeah. He, he was a Japanese samurai. He was a daimyo of the late Sengoku period, regarded as the second great unifier of Japan. So he is one of the big boys.
There is. Oh, I need to find my guy here.
His nickname was Monkey, or Saru. He managed to do that, and his nickname was fucking Monkey.
Man, yeah, your nickname doesn't matter. Edmund Kean. We're going back to Shakespearean times here. November the 4th, 1787 to 15th May 1833. Right? He was a celebrated Shakespearean British stage actor, and he was born in England. But he performed in London, Belfast, New York, Quebec, Paris, and was well known for his short stature, tumultuous personal life, and controversial divorce.
Controversial
Right?
divorce, of course.
But there is many. So he was born in Westminster, in London,
Yes.
and his father was thought to be Edmund Kean as well, an architect's clerk, and his mother was an actress. Kean made his first appearance on the stage aged 4 as Cupid in Jean-Georges Nevers' ballet Simon. As a child, his vivacity, cleverness, and ready affection made him a universal favourite, but his harsh circumstances and lack of discipline both helped develop self-reliance and fostered wayward tendencies. About 1794, a few benevolent persons paid for him to go to school. where he did well, but finding the restraint intolerable, he shipped as a cabin boy at Portsmouth. Finding life at sea even more restricting, he pretended to be both deaf and lame so skillfully that he deceived doctors at Madeira. On his return to England, he sought the protection of his uncle, Moses Keene, a mimic, ventriloquist, and general entertainer, who, besides continuing his pantomimic studies, introduced him to the study of Shakespeare. At the time, Charlotte Tidswell, an actress who had been especially kind to him from infancy, taught him the principles of acting. On the death of his uncle, she took charge of him, and they began the systematic study of the principle of Shakespearean characters, displaying the peculiar originality of his genius by interpretations entirely different from those of John Philip Kemble, then considered the greatest exponent of these roles. Keane's talents and interesting countenance caused a Mrs. Clark to adopt him, but he took offence at the comments of a visitor and suddenly left her house and went back to his old surroundings. So he's just,
If he got adopted, got pissed off, and just left because someone insulted him.
yeah. At 14, he obtained an engagement to play leading characters for 20 nights in the York Theatre, appearing as Hamlet, Hastings, and Cato. Shortly afterwards, he was in Richardson's Theatre, a travelling theatre company. The rumour of his abilities reached George III, who commanded him to appear at Windsor Castle. He subsequently joined Saunders Circus, where in the performance of an equestrian feat he fell and broke both legs, the accident leaving traces of swelling in his insteps throughout his life. At this time, he picked up music from Charles Incledon, dancing from Deville, and fencing from Angelo. In 1807, he played leading parts in the Belfast Theatre with Sarah Siddons, who began calling him a horrid little man, and on further experience of his ability said that he played very, very well, but that there was too little of him to make a great actor, because he was short. Uh, He made an early appearances with Mrs. Baker's company in 1808. He joined a provincial troupe of the actor Samuel Butler and went on to marry Mary Chambers of Waterford, the leading actress, on the 17th of July. His wife gave birth to two sons, one of whom was the actor of Charles Keene. So that's his son. So
He's a little guy who so far managed to trick the Navy and all of its doctors, leave school to join the Navy because he thought it was restrictive, and decide the Navy was too restrictive as well. Get adopted by someone who thought his abilities were spectacular, and then leave said adoption because someone insulted him. And then get invited to a performance by King George, to which he broke both his legs.
yeah, then he learned dancing, fencing, and acting. Oh,
As if he didn't
dancing, fencing, and music. Got
music,
married
yeah.
and had two kids.
He's
Right,
had a cumulative life.
right. That's till he was 21. Now we're getting into the adult stuff. Because that's only the start of his life. So
Okay.
for several years, his prospects were gloomy. In 1814, the Committee of Drury Lane Theatre, which was on the verge of bankruptcy, resolved to give him a chance among their experiments, as they were making a win to return of popularity. When the expectation of his first appearance was close upon him, he was so feverish that he exclaimed, "If I succeed, I shall go mad," as he was unable to afford medical treatment for some time. This elder son died. Oh, his elder son died the day after he signed the 3-year Drury Lane contract. His opening at Drury Lane on the 26th of January 1814 as Shylock roused the audience to almost uncontrollable enthusiasm. Contemporaries recognised that Keane had brought dignity and humanity to the portrayal of the character. Jane Austen refers to his popularity in a letter to her sister Cassandra on the 2nd of March 1814. It says, "Places are secured at Drury Lane for Saturday, but so great is the rage for seeing Keane that only a third and fourth row could be got." Successive appearances in Richard III, Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth, and King Lear demonstrated his mastery of the range of tragic emotion. His triumph was so great that he himself said on one occasion, "I could not feel the stage under me." Um, in 1817, the local playwright named Charles Buck submitted his play The Italians, or The Fatal Accusation of Drury Lane, for which Keane was to play the lead. The play was well received by both counsel and actors until Keane seemed to have a change of heart and began to make several offhand remarks that his part was not big enough for him. Then, after a performance in February 1819, where Keane went out of his way to botch the opening night of Switzerland by historical novelist Jane Porter, for whom Keane had had a personal dislike, uh, Buck pulled the play out of contempt for Keane's conduct. After much cajoling to still perform the play by theatre staff, Mr. Buck then later had it republished with a preface concerning the incident, including excerpts from correspondence between both involved parties, which was later challenged in two books: The Assailant and The Assailant Assailed and A Defence of Edmund Keane, Esquire. A result was a loss of faith on both sides, and the play began being performed anyway on the 3rd of April 1819 to a disastrous reception, thanks to the controversy already surrounding Keane's previous conduct. On the 29th of November 1820, so the next year, Keane appeared for the first time in New York City as Richard III at the Anthony Street Theatre. The success of his visit to America was unequivocal, although he fell into a vexatious dispute with the press. In 1821, he appeared in Boston with Mary Ann Duff in The Distressed Mother by Ambrose Phillips, an adaptation of Rancine's Andromaque. On the 4th of June 1821, returned to England. He was
So far, so good.
he was the first to restore the tragic ending to Shakespeare's King Lear, which had been replaced on stage since 1681 by Nahum Tate's happy ending adaptation of the history of King Lear. Keane had previously acted Tate's Lear, but told his wife that the London audience will have no notion for what I can do until they see me over the dead body of Cordelia.
Of course.
Keane played the tragic Lear for a few performances. They were not well received, although one critic described his dying scene as deeply affecting, and with regret it reverted to Tate. Now, his private life. Keane's lifestyle became a hindrance to his career. As a result of his relationship with Charlotte Cox, the wife of a London city alderman, Keane was sued by Mr. Cox for damages and criminal conversation, or adultery at the time. Damages of £800 were awarded against him by a jury that had deliberated for just 10 minutes. The Times launched a violent attack on him. The adverse decision of the criminal conversation caused his wife to leave him and aroused against him such bitter feeling that he was booed and pelted with fruit when he reappeared at Drury Lane, and nearly compelled him to retire permanently into private life. On his second visit to America in 1825, it was largely a repetition of the percussion for which he had suffered in England. Some cities showed him in a spirit of charity. Many audiences subjected him to insults and even violence. In Quebec City, he was much impressed with the kindness of some Huron Indians who attended his performances, that he was purportedly made an honorary chief of the tribe. Keane's last appearance in New York was on the 5th of December 1826 in King Richard III, the role in which he was first seen in America.
So if he managed to somehow, via a performance, become an honorary chief of a tribe of Indians while in
Now,
America.
this is the best one. He returned to England, was ultimately received with favour, but by now he was so dependent on the use of stimulants that the gradual deterioration of his gifts was inevitable. Still, his great powers triumphed during the moments of his inspiration over the absolute wreck of his physical faculties. His appearance in Paris was a failure owing to a fit of drunkenness, where upon the start of the play, 10 minutes before Keane had left, nobody could find him. As an actor had to stand in as the lead role as he was the headline act. The crowd started booing and throwing fruit and projectiles at the actors on stage. Such was the terrible performance. About 30 minutes into the play, and it was realised by someone that one of the people in the crowd was a now drunken Keane.
So he had turned up drunk to the show that he was meant to be
He
on so that he could
he
heckle
was
the
the
person
lead
replacing him.
actor. He was the lead actor. He was meant to be there. That's why a lot of people were there. He got left, got pissed, went back to see what was happening. Everybody was booing them and throwing shit at them, and he just joined in even though they were booing because he wasn't there.
Why not? He was probably so pissed out of his mind he didn't even realise he was at his show.
Yeah, and so his eccentricities at the height of his fame were numerous. Sometimes he would ride recklessly on his horse Shylock throughout the night. He was presented with a tame lion in which he might be found playing with in his drawing room. The prize fighters Mendoza and Hammond the Black were among his visitors, and Henry Grattan was his devoted friend. So he had a pet lion and he used to ride his horse, Shylock, recklessly through the night.
I want to know how you can ride your horse recklessly through the night.
He was probably pissed. That's probably the first part of it.
Probably just drunk driving a horse.
Oh,
Is
no,
that
that's
even a
it.
thing? Was there a drunk driving a horse? I feel like there was.
I mean, you can get done for drunk driving a bike.
Can you?
If you were on a bicycle, yeah, in England. It doesn't have to have an engine, man. If you are in possession of a vehicle, you can be done for. You probably won't be, but you can technically be done for drink driving.
I thought it was just like heavy machinery and motorized vehicles.
No, because it's still it's still someone run someone over and push bike and hurt them.
You could, but they're more likely to just turn around and break the bike over your head
I mean,
than they are if you hit them with a car.
Depends who you run into, innit?
Yeah, true. Hey, Christ. So
yeah.
So this guy went through all that shit, became an honorary tribe chief, reinvented, but was the first to perform the actual ending to a play.
Yep.
Had all that shit happen, broke his legs,
Before
learned
he
how
was
to
21.
do music and all that sort of stuff, and then turned up pissed to his own play, because why not?
Yeah, why wouldn't you turn up pissed to your own play?
Yeah, why not? Why the fuck not?
Oh, but yeah. So that's Edmund Kean.
Yeah. Hey, this one is just a quick one. It's just a quick little laugh one. But it's on the same premise of ridiculousness, and
Yes.
it is, of course, in America. It's in Portland, Oregon, in September 25th, 1938, and this was printed on the front page. Galilee RI, September 24th, AP. Charles Keville walked into a temporary morgue and looked at a body which had been identified as his. Nope, he said, that ain't me, and walked out again.
I mean, that's fair.
Someone invited him in to check if the body was his. The logic of that.
If you go to see him,
See him?
and like, no, I understand him walking in and being like, "No, dude, that's not me," right? But what I don't understand is them going, you need to come and tell them that that's not you because I think it is." Like, what?
Wait, it's like
It's
wasn't
quite
there one
impressive.
wasn't there one where like someone got officially diagnosed like someone got put into like obituary and stuff like that, and according to the government he was dead, but he wasn't dead at all, so he had to go through all the shit of making it so that he wasn't dead anymore because the system had fucked up and thought he died.
Yeah, but even so, he's just walked up and went, "No, that's not me," and wandered off. I don't feel like that's proving you're not dead.
I mean, I feel like it is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna swing it back to war because I've got something to do with the Swedish Navy for the 1830s.
It was a small Danish man attacking them constantly.
No, this is to do with them preempting the future and getting it badly wrong.
Oh, okay.
In the 1830s, the Swedish Navy planted 300,000 oak trees to be used for ship production in the far future. So they were planning ahead, thinking we can produce ships. We're going to plant 300,000 oak trees so that we can produce these ships.
Do you know what? Can I just stop you there? You're saying that they failed because you don't make ships out of water anymore, but I say that's actually a win because they've helped the environment because they didn't need to cut that down and make ships.
They have. When they received word that the trees were fully grown and ready to be used in 1975, So if someone had to supervise them and like send words to the Swedish Navy saying, "Look, these trees are ready to be used," they
Yeah,
had little use of them as modern warships were built with metal.
they could just build. I mean, we built one out of concrete, didn't we?
Did we?
Dude, there's a one in the river at Sunderland. I'm sure it's in the Weir. There's a
Quite
concrete ship
possibly. I would not be surprised, honestly. That
because
would yeah.
that's what you do when you're British. You go, I know what floats, concrete. I mean, to be fair, metal doesn't really float, so we're done well
Yeah, you can't say I know what floats concrete and then look at all the metal ships sailing around where
there.
metal doesn't.
Yeah, but there's a reason we don't. I'm assuming there's a reason we don't have concrete ships. I'm assuming there's a reason we don't have concrete cars.
Metal is a lot more buoyant than concrete,
A lot less
and a lot
crumbly
less
if you have a
heavier.
crash,
It's not as heavy. It's not as difficult to set or build on water or do
or
repairs
move,
in
or
water.
sail, or
Yeah,
power, or maintain.
or it's not as
Can't they?
good as defensive if you just look at any of the buildings that got hit by cannons and stuff.
How would you take out a concrete ship? Theoretically, what would be the most effective?
I mean, if it was built in the modern day, just any of the modern armaments could blast through the concrete.
If you had thick enough concrete, because even like
But
bank vaults and shit are literally concreted in with reinforced steel.
World War II, there's an island in Japan. It still has remains of concrete where the American Navy and the American Air Force came and bombed it, and the concrete just has massive holes where you can see where like a missile or a bomb or a gunshot's just pierced through.
Yeah, man. See,
So
concrete for the win. Anyway, my point was, if you could seal it off somehow, hermetically, like
so
put it in a
if
bubble.
you could make it like buoyant and I mean,
No,
that's how you
just
do it that's how you do it with metal ships. That's how submarines work. You've got a chamber in it where you let it flood, and that's how it sinks. And then you let it
no,
fill up with air so that it's buoyant.
no. That's not what I mean. I mean, how would you, as an enemy, sink a ship if theoretically concrete ships are floating around and everything? What's the
Theoretically,
easiest?
concrete ships.
Yes.
Uh,
So theoretically, take away the oxygen. If you could seal something around it, just take away all the oxygen.
Also, theoretically, just let the birds shit on it because eventually it will corrode the fucking thing.
Dude, you'd be waiting a long time.
Would be, but
I mean, a long time. No,
that would
because
be a good job for
it's
your fleet of geese, though.
yes, just shit all over the concrete. Just use acid,
Yeah,
create acid
exactly,
rain with goose shit.
exactly.
No, man, because I have things about my armies. Do you want to
Your
know
armies.
my army? Someone's already started. Do you want
Okay.
right? Um, a report in the Ningbo Evening News had said that 100,000 ducks would be sent from Xinjiang province to Pakistan to deal with its worst locust invasion in 2 decades, generating 520 million views on China's Weibo social media platform on Thursday, and thousands of comments. China deployed ducks, whose natural diets include insects, to fight similar infestation in the northwestern Xinjiang region 2 decades ago, reportedly with considerable effectiveness. Despite popular support for the idea in a country where cute ducks memes have become hugely popular, Zhang Long, a professor from China Agricultural University, told reporters in Pakistan that the ducks would not be suited to the conditions there. Ducks rely on water, but in Pakistan's desert areas the temperature is very high, Zhang said. Zhang is part of a delegation of Chinese experts sent to help the South Asian country combat the locust and advise the use of chemical or biological pesticides. So this is the whole thing that they don't want to use biological pesticides,
So
right?
they were going to send a partially aquatic creature, a creature that is known to be sitting on water, just chilling, to a desert.
Well, no, because they're not going to send them, but they were expecting. So they were going to send 100,000 ducks. Um, they were just going to wander them into Pakistan from China
Have an
to get rid
army
of the
of
locusts.
ducks.
But dude, do you know how effective it is? I can't remember the name of it or anything like that, but there's a wine, what do you call it, a vineyard in South Africa, I think it is.
Why was
That
I going to say orchard for fucking wine?
it is. It's a grape orchard,
Yeah.
a vineyard, in I think it's South Africa that literally they don't use pesticides. They use ducks because they just eat the insects, and they're really good apparently. Um,
Just have them waddle along. Although I suppose if they eat the grapes as well, that would possibly be bad.
yeah. So the locusts have already caused extensive damage in East Africa and India. Locust swarms can fly up to 90 miles a day with the wind and eat as much in one day as about 35,000 people. The Ningbo Evening News had quoted Lu Lizai, a researcher from the Zhejiang Provincial Institute of Agricultural Technology, as saying the use of ducks was much less expensive and environmentally damaging than pesticides. Ducks like to stay in a group, so they're easier to manage than chickens, he said. A duck is also capable of eating more than 200 locusts per day compared to just about 70 for a chicken. The article was amended on the 27th of February 2020 after Zhang Long rejected the Ningbo Evening News report that China was going to dispatch ducks to Pakistan. So yeah,
Just
so
that
some
sentence.
no, just the fact that he went, we're going to send 100,000 ducks to Pakistan, right? And they went, why would you do that? And his exact thing was, it was so we knew it was to do with like it's better than pesticides and stuff. But his quote that he chose to give was, ducks like to stay in a group, so they're much easier to manage than chickens, and a duck is also capable of eating more than 200 locusts per day compared to 70 for a chicken. He didn't say it's better for the environment or anything like that. He just went, well, they're better than chickens.
Yeah. I want to know who sat there and counted how many locusts a chicken can eat and how many a fucking duck can eat.
I don't know, man. I
That
don't.
sounds like a very boring task to do, just sitting there with a clicker seeing every time a duck eats a locust in a day.
Yeah. Oh god, imagine me the person that has to work out that they 200,
I
200
feel
locusts a day.
I feel like what they've done is they've sat and maybe watched it for like half an hour or an hour, and then they've just multiplied it by 24 or however
Ooh.
many. I feel like that's what they've done. I don't feel like someone sat there for an entire day watching a duck and a chicken eat locusts.
Yeah. I've got
They
it.
could
It's
have if
the
you did.
Vergenoegd Law wine estate. Is one of the oldest working farms in South Africa with the land rights granted in 1696. And the Graysoul Cape Dutch homestead dates back to 1733. And it says um, they are Indian runner ducks.
Indian
Yeah.
runner ducks. Is that because they can run really fast, or is that just a nickname that came up from something
Well,
stupid?
they're eating the insects like snails and stuff, so I don't think they need to be fast. I
No,
don't think a normal duck's got much trouble catching a snail.
no, I wouldn't think so.
Um,
I'm just curious about the name though. Why are they called runner ducks?
it's just that's just the breed of them. So there are 1,600 Indian runner ducks that live on the
Ooh,
Vergnegård Law wine estate in South Africa.
okay.
Um,
I found out why they're called running ducks.
okay.
They stand erect like penguins. Yes, that's a freaking sentence. Erect like penguins, and rather than waddling, they run. So the legit instead of waddling like a normal duck, they stand up straight and just run.
It's the start of my army.
It is.
Um, So it says more than 1,600 Indian running ducks live on the wine estate, which has existed since 1696. But the feathered housemates are not just cute; they have been fulfilling an essential task in the wine growing there since the 1980s, and it's a gorgeous place.
But
Um,
most vineyards are though because they need to be able to produce the grapes and so like as far as I'm aware, most vineyards tend to be in beautiful places.
so I've got a picture of right. Wait there. It says the ducks are the best employees. I call our ducks the soldiers of our vineyards," said the managing director Corius Visser, explaining that the original concept. They eat aphids, slugs, and small worms. They keep the vineyard completely pest-free. Every 2 weeks, the battalion is released on the property. In the process, they are not only remove everything that could be the vine's undoing, but also fertilize the soil. Only during the grape harvest do the ducks take a holiday, so the grapes are not eaten for a dessert. Speaking of food, fear not, the ducks are never eaten. Not even when they retire. That would be like eating a colleague, Gavin Moyes, head of the tasting room, told Atlas Obscura. The ducks, he says, are the best employees on the estate.
I love the fact that one, they had the common sense to not have the ducks out while the grapes are ripe, so that they don't just have them as a dessert, like he said. But two, the fact that he calls it deploying the battalion every couple of weeks.
Yeah. So, deploy every couple of weeks at 7 a.m. They're all released from their pens and put into one large group, right? And they are guided to the vineyards for a day's work. They take
They're not
breaks.
taken to the vineyards; they're just guided.
They're guided. So they use them to thingy. So they work from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. and then go home. Um, It doesn't just rely on ducks, it has a solar plant and a 25-hectare marsh conservation area. The idea of using ducks is not new, by the way. In Thailand, they have been using them for centuries to control pests in rice fields. Indian runner ducks, like those kept at the Verngadlow estate, are particularly suitable for this purpose. Although they cannot fly, they have a perfect sense of smell which enables them to track down food. So yeah, they call them a battalion.
Yeah, I want a battalion of ducks. Can we have
That
battalions of ducks?
that is my goal, man.
Battalion of geese, battalion of ducks.
1,600 ducks. Imagine being. You know what's the best thing about that, Kyle? Is that they don't
What?
even keep them. They guide them like 2 mile to the vineyards. Like,
Yeah.
put the duck pen next to the vineyard for. Surely.
No. Parade the battalion through the town before they get to work.
Can you imagine waiting for 1,600 ducks to cross the road on your way to work? Oh, for fuck, I'm going to have to phone in again.
I feel like everybody in that area just knows that there's going to be a battalion of ducks and just works around it.
Let's build them a little duck bridge.
Right. I'm going to call it there because my dad's
Yeah.
legitimately jumped in the shower and started fucking singing.
Yeah, we can just about hear audio of it.
Yeah, so I'm going to call it there for this week's episode. I do apologise. For some reason, he's decided at 10:30 at night it's a good time for a shower and a shave.
Dude, I thought it was 9:30. My laptop's slow. What's happening there?
No, it's 10:30, man.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
My laptop's all kind of fucked up.
Yeah. So
Don't
anyway,
worry about that later.
thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. We hope that you have enjoyed learning about new people and the legends that are the short miracle man who broke his legs in front of the king and turned up to his own show drunk. The soldier in the navy who decided he's going to pick a fight with the English that were delivering a battleship to the Swedish, and then upon realizing he ran out of ammo, asked if he could borrow more to continue the fight. And then the soldier who single-handedly Todger, who jumped over the trenches, ran towards a sniper, got shot twice, continued, but they missed him, continued on, fought, beat the sniper, and instead of killing the people in the trenches, disarmed them and made them surrender.
And the French cavalry that captured 14 Dutch ships.
Yes. Let's not forget that. If there's any reason for Stefan to like the French, it's the fact that the cavalry captured ships.
Do you know what? I am so disappointed that they only recorded successful cavalry charge on ships. It's French. It hurts me.
Well, thank you
You
very
could
much
look
for
at it
listening.
another way. The French are so bad at navy that they had to take horses because they had a better chance.
Is that the way you're going to look at it now?
Well, the French had a good army. They did have a good army. They had a good.
They
I
had
mean,
decent armies.
not as good as the English, but
They were still very flamboyant, but they had decent armies. Right. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go before the whistling intensifies, and that's all you can hear.
yeah.
We'll see you all next week, hopefully.
See you next week. Hopefully, whistle free.
Yeah.